What's going on? How y'all doing? What's happening? So, like many folks who were fans or watched The Sopranos over the years, very curious about how the Many Saints of Newark was going to be. Um, and I do have HBO Max, and I refuse to go in the theaters. I don't trust nothing inside. I don't hardly go nowhere. I don't need to, and I pay enough money for that system anyway. So, theaters always act all funny anyway, and you can only limit yourself with popcorn and drinks to a certain extent anyway. So why would I put the workers and myself to all that problem? It ain't worth to go that. And this movie sure as heck wasn't worth going to the movies to go see, because when you're doing a film as a TV show, trying to recapture it as a film, it's going to be kind of uneven. And it was a very uneven movie. Now let me just get to the elephant in the room. Michael Gandolfini looked so much like his daddy, was so eerie. And not since the days when I saw Straight Outta Compton, when O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son, Jr., just like his daddy. It was so eerie. And the manner and everything. And that's the thing, when you're putting it in a screen or a film, and the mannerisms and the look, it's like, okay, that captures your attention. But there wasn't enough time spent on him. They did the racial dynamic with Leslie Odoms, who did a great job. There was some good acting parts. Michael Imperioli, I make sure I say his name, played the part of Christopher, who got killed by his cousin, uncle / Tony, snitching because of his girlfriend, wife, etc. Was narrating. And I always love Italian films with his narration. But it didn't go as far as it could have. And let me be real, look back to the elephant in the room. As good as the performances were, I'm not going to say great per se, but as good as they were, James Gandolfini, when you don't have a James Gandolfini and Tony Soprano, that's kind of like if Dallas had a Dallas movie and you don't have J.R.U. and Larry Hagman as it just, because you got these larger than life villains and personas, that it's tough to recapture that. And you can go back to this and that, but you're missing that elephant in the room. The music was off tilt, because I remember they had the Graham Central Station's The Jam, like it was in the mid-70s, but then they went back to fingertips, Steve Wonder, and I'm thinking, and the music was off, the sequences was off, which usually works in these films, because if you watch Goodfellas, which I've watched many a time, Scorsese went back and forth, but it worked because they stayed in tune with the characters, even though it was off. And The Sopranos was always like a dream reflection. But this film seemed disorganized and seemed all over the place, and it just didn't have enough oomph. And then when you're trying to take on the racial dynamics, because I have many relatives in the Newark, East Orange, Jersey area, that's a very tricky proposition, especially when it's black and white situation, neighborhoods and so on and so forth. And if you come forward off to New York and if you come up to Bensonhurst and so on and so forth, that's a very tricky proposition of how you're going to tell that story, not offend, but yet stay in the context of the times. So the film, air sunk out trying to be racial. And it was a waste of Ray Liotta. They played the dual role with a twin brother. And his son killed him because of how he beat his wife that he brought from Italy. And then his twin brother was doing a life bid at Rahway. And that whole thing, I like the Miles Davis part with the rocket and everything. But Ray Liotta, you want to see Ray Liotta. And I'm watching, I had, like I said, the night before I watched this movie, I was watching Goodfellas again just so I could get back into Ray again. Because I watched many of his shows and his TV shows through the years. But this did not quite set it off like it should have. But it left me kind of cold. It was a hit and miss uneven movie. There was some moments here and there, and there's some things I like, but it could have been stronger. And I don't think, the bottom line, it didn't matter. Unlike David Chase was crying about it being on going to cable and the movies, that wasn't the problem. It's that you missed the mark with the one character, and you missed the mark with it being more cohesive. That's my knocks. But it had some good cinematography and it had some good scenes, but it just was lacking that knockout and that one dynamic personality, which I was hoping Ray Liotta was going to hit, or Michael Gandolfini for that matter. But anyway, give me your thoughts and takes about the Many Saints of Newark, based on The Sopranos. What did you think? Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts and comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another. And I don't think this will be the end of the situation. And Michael Gandolfini, given the right role, got a future on the screen. It's just a matter of the right opportunity. But playing his dad at a young age, that was something else. I'm out, even in movie.